A very good morning to our first ever FIWARE Smart Fest. You know that we had a lot of FIWARE summits, global summits, starting back in 2016. But due to the pandemic, this is not possible at the moment. So we are celebrating the first FIWARE Smart Fest, having more registered participants than ever before in one of our global summits. That's one of the advantages of digital events, that it makes it easier to participate. And even to participate in our new studio here. Look around, it is a fantastic setting, a big screen over here, and a nice lounge. So we will have, hopefully, wonderful 3 days to talk about what is actually going on in the digitization industry, what's happening with FIWARE.
Sì, vedo.
And
Okay.
It is to guide you through untapped waters, to guide you into the future of digitization, into the future of the FIWARE ecosystem. And to start here, we had with our board of directors a strategy workshop back in May of this year to set the guidelines for the activities of the FIWARE ecosystem and all the community. And to give us a few opening words of this 3 days event today, I'm welcoming Dario Avallone, our board of directors chair. So welcome, Dario, a very good morning. And I have to say, not only a good morning to all the participants, but also good afternoon, good evening. We are broadcasting around the world, so we are in different time zones. And Dario, welcoming you means also to congratulate yourself. Yesterday was the General Assembly meeting, the extraordinary General Assembly meeting of Gaia X, and you've been elected to become a member of the board of Gaia X, which is very, very important also for our ecosystem. But now over to you, Dario.
Okay, thank you very much, Ulrich. It's clearly a pleasure for me to be here and to welcome this large community. I don't know how many people are already connected, but I guess that we should be quite a lot. And frankly speaking, it's really an honor. Let me say something before going in the merit. I think it's, this event is particularly important also because it's the first event that we have after more than 1 year of substantial discontinuity with respect and uncertainty. The COVID has brought really a bad period, and I think and I hope that this is really a new start for us. It's a new start for FIWARE, it's a new start for our professional and personal challenges. Let me say that FIWARE is going to contribute to this new start with a lot of challenges. And today we are here not only to have our summit, but to have our fest, as the name of the event says. And this fest is again a celebration for us and should be seen as a celebration. On the other hand, FIWARE is also our open source ecosystem platform. And with this respect, we should be proud of the fact that this platform is constantly gaining recognition and centrality in the development of smart applications in several business domains. FIWARE, in fact, is not only smart cities, where its role is recognized at world level, but is a relevant platform in several other business sectors, like manufacturing and industry, energy and water, waste management, agriculture, and any other sector that very likely I'm forgetting today. One sector, in addition, that anyway it's worth to mention, is related to the tracing of COVID that we have implemented through FIWARE. And I think this is something that demonstrates how FIWARE is versatility can really help to improve the world where we live. And this is something that we should consider as an achievement, but also as a challenge for our future. The FIWARE platform is growing, is evolving, and is evolving as much as we are evolving as a community. We are, and we should never forget this, an open source platform and an open source community. And I think that our role in this sense will become even more relevant with respect to the possibility to contribute with our open source solution to achieve a full digital sovereignty of Europe. I think, in fact, that Europe digital sovereignty can only be overcome taking into account open source as the development software practice, the emerging and the leading software practice. This is because there is an evident gap in software production with US and China and India and other emerging countries, where that can be covered only with community developers that go in the direction of independent software production and open software production. So FIWARE is the European entity that can contribute to this goal. In the same time, the characteristic of FIWARE can easily go in the development, in the direction of development of the ingredients and components and solution that can facilitate the development of the data economy. What I think is that in front of us there is a huge challenge in terms of contribution that we can give to the creation of the so-called data space that substantially represent the way in which the new data economy will develop by aggregating data generated by different data owners in different ecosystems, business ecosystems. Let me say that this challenge is the ultimate challenge that we can see in front of us to give a relevance, an additional relevance to FIWARE, and to connect, as Ulrich was saying before, also to other emerging initiatives. I am fully convinced that the contribution of FIWARE to Gaia-X might have a centrality that is not even totally perceived so far. My conviction is in fact that we have most of the technological components that we might contribute to Gaia-X, and in other words, we might contribute to the development of the data economy and the digital sovereignty that Gaia-X wants to implement. So we are in an excellent position. We are in an excellent position to work together and to work towards the increase and augmentation of the impact that FIWARE might have in the development of a new European wellness based on digital transformation. So this is substantially the short introduction that I wanted to share with you. I want to conclude somehow as I've started, saying that I will not be capable to stay with you that long today, because I want to go over the problem and the issue related with COVID-19. And in 1 hour, I have my second vaccination, so I really want to go there and to not miss this opportunity. This is why I will not be capable to stay with you much longer.
Okay.
But I thank you.
Dario, thank you very much. Yeah, Dario, thank you very much for opening here this FIWARE Smart Fest, and also for your guidance out of the board of directors, and also thank you to the whole board of directors, where we have actually 11 representatives of the platinum members, of the gold members, of the associations in our team, providing the strategic guidelines for all our activities. And these activities are shown here at our new event using a new platform, which is AirMeet. AirMeet is our conference platform, interactive functionalities. Please use the opportunity also to have one-to-one meetings. We are offering these one-to-one meetings also during the presentations. So as if you were on a real conference, you could go into a conference room, but you can stay in the lounge, meet others, establish new contacts, talk to people whom you wouldn't meet otherwise. And here AirMeet is providing this functionality. Simply use it. And we have overall a program of 3 days fully packed with information, with experiences, with success stories coming from the market adoption of FIWARE technology. And we have more than 150 speakers in far more than 100 sessions, 35 hours of program on 3 days. We are covering different time zones. So also a session in the evening for South America in Spanish, one this evening for North America, the one for South America in Spanish, sorry, and the one for North America in English. And we will have several more highlights. We will release tomorrow the FIWARE Release 8 with new functionalities coming up. And on Thursday, we will have a members-only session for evaluating how to utilize the upcoming opportunities within Horizon Europe and Digital Europe, so 2 big funding programs of the European Commission. But let me start to give you where we want to go. So what is our vision as FIWARE? It is the vision to be the open source platform technology for our smart digital future. That is the vision of FIWARE. And our mission is to build an open and sustainable ecosystem around public, royalty-free, implementation-driven, and interoperable software platform standards that will ease the development of new application in multiple sectors or in multiple domains. This is our FIWARE mission, as it is stated in our bylaws. During the strategy workshop, we have only added the sentence or the 2 words, interoperable software. And this is becoming more and more important as we are talking more and more about data spaces in different areas, creating the basis for the data economy. And this is something where we are putting focus on in our activities. Let me talk a bit about where we want to be in 3 years. But that makes only sense if you look back where we started. Back in 2011, when the Future Internet PPP, this public-private partnership of the European Commission with several European companies and organizations and universities was started. And already in 2014, the digital revolution started, and NGSI version 2 developed to be a very good standard to break down information silos. It started to become a de facto standard to be adopted in the market. And after quite a large investment from both sides, from the public side, so European Commission funding, from the private side, from the companies, after this, and also investment of venture capitalists who have identified the potential of companies using FIWARE technology to create offerings, the FIWARE Foundation was created to bring all of this into a sustainable future. And then we went into the real standardization. We did a platform consolidation within the FIWARE ecosystem. The core software component of FIWARE, the context broker, became a standard building block of a program called Connecting Europe Facility, the CEF program. And ETSI identified the potential of NGSI and brought it to a formal standard, now called NGSI LD, the standard for context information management in different domains, starting in smart cities, but now also adopted in other domains. So this is to answer the question, how to break down the silos, how to at least open the silos. And then there's a question, which data to transfer and which data to use. And this is also an initiative which started end of 2018, the so-called Frontrunner initiative, Frontrunner Smart Cities initiative, because also that started in the smart cities domain to create standard data models. Oh, there's, okay. This became, in the meantime, also very successful, and I will come back to that a bit later. 2021, where are we today? FIWARE is the globally leading open source technology in the area of smart cities. There's no other open source technology more broadly adopted in the market of smart cities. More than 200 cities in over 30 countries are implementing their digitization using FIWARE technology. And we are developing the digital twin concepts, as well as integrating digital ledger technologies like blockchain, like IOTA into the offerings of FIWARE. And where will this way guide us? It will come to more and more data marketplaces. So FIWARE as the enabler for data spaces and the data economy in Europe, supporting AI, supporting machine learning, because once we have all the data available, it makes more than sense to use also AI and machine learning functionalities for this. Coming to 2023, in 2 years' time, FIWARE will be the global GSM for context information management. So what do I mean with this? What GSM is for mobile communication. It works all over the world. Without GSM, we wouldn't be able to have phone calls around the world. This is where FIWARE will be in 2 years. It will be the standard for context information management in different domains. And finally, it will, in 2024, be the global enabler for data spaces and the data economy. So in 2022, focus Europe, but we are more and more active globally, and FIWARE becomes more and more adopted on a global scale, and we will provide the standard for the data economy in 2024. This is the overall vision of FIWARE, and to achieve this, we will have to go through a lot of untapped waters, deep forests, and in this workshop I mentioned with the board of directors, we worked first on a SWOT analysis. So an internal view, what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, but also an external view, which are the opportunities outside on the market and what are the threats coming from the big and dangerous animals on the market. And all this brought us to a strategy, and to guide the way through this strategy, we have developed a tool. And sometimes, even in a digital world, it makes sense to use traditional business tools. And in our case, it's a compass. Having 4 different compass directions. The first one is growth of the FIWARE ecosystem. The second one is market readiness, technology. The third one are the adoptions in different domains, and finally, the globalization. Because a technology like FIWARE can only be sustainable when it is adopted on a global market. And let me guide you now through these different compass directions, starting with the growth of the FIWARE ecosystem. And our ecosystem is living by our members. Yeah? Members coming from all over the world. And we are very proud to have reached last month already the member number 400. You see the growth curve on the left side. And since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, we have been grown by more than 30%. Isn't that impressive? Isn't that impressive? And it shows that COVID motivates a lot of people and convinces a lot of people that digitization helps to make companies, organizations, cities more resilient and to be able to better cope with the conditions of such pandemics. And you see some logos here of companies who joined us. From Slovenia, the Chamber of Commerce, very important also in the Gaia-X environment. They are managing the Gaia-X hub in Slovenia, and Andrea Lampe is also responsible for the international smart cities domain within Gaia-X. Very important, bringing this topic onto the agenda of the EU presidency of Slovenia in the second half. Code for Japan is very important for the adoption of FIWARE technology in Japan. And after Red Hat joined us a bit more than a year ago from the US, we are getting more and more attraction also in the US. And therefore, I'm really proud to announce Blue Sky as our member 400. And I'm really thanking Jem, who went up. I think, Jem, it's 3:20 actually in where you are living. So if you are there, just let's have a very short chat, and congratulations to becoming the member number 400 in the FIWARE Foundation. Tell us a little bit about your company.
All right, thank you so much. And it's super exciting. And although it is 3:24 a.m., I have to say I'm hanging on every word that I've heard spoken so far, and it's music to our ears. Blue Sky Consulting takes a different spin on what we feel is the digital twin sort of continuum. We believe that coherence, wellness, and people-centric smart city development is really important, and it really helps to bring the fuel to the ecosystem, because that sort of enthusiasm where people now can begin to build is similar to other industrial ages where we had massive growth, and now we're on the cusp of massive digital growth by organizing, structuring, standardizing, and opening up a less, I would say, friction path towards the adoption of the digital future in the present. So it's just fantastic to be a part of this journey with you all. We'll be tied very close to the hip on every step going forward. We have a lot of amazing ideas already formulating in the Americas, and we're just super excited to be a part of the team.
Okay, so in which regions are you mainly active? Tell us a bit
So
about that to the audience.
We're active in North America, and the Caribbean, and parts of Latin America.
Okay, so for your next project in the Caribbean, if you need support, just give me a ring, and I will be happy to help. So, Jem, really welcome to the FIWARE ecosystem, and I hope that the FIWARE technology, but also the partners in the ecosystem, will be of support for your business and will help you to grow, and you will help us to grow and to enrich our footprint in the US. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, and we've been talking here about, or we are talking about growth of the FIWARE ecosystem, and this also means to include the innovation potential of our science partners. And we decided end of last year to introduce the FIWARE Scientific Advisory Board. It is a new FIWARE body which supports the board of directors. So it is consulting the board of directors, bringing in the latest research results from universities, technology results from technologies, and helping us to stay ahead of the crowd when it comes to adoption of technology. And this team actually consists of 7 world leading and renowned people from university, doctors, professors, and you can see them here on this slides from different countries. And there's a flyer available for the FIWARE Scientific Advisory Board where you can get more information. All these slides will be shared afterwards, so you can simply pick the link. And FIWARE is independent from the FIWARE Scientific Advisory Board, getting into the lecture plans of more and more universities, where professors are using FIWARE technology, FIWARE concepts, FIWARE architectures, FIWARE standards to teach their students. And with this, it makes very much sense for us to educate young people and make them familiar with the FIWARE technology. And in the meantime, we are working together with more than 10 universities which have already adopted this approach. And a lot of you from the past know our acceleration program. We had a publicly funded acceleration program from the European Commission. This was one of the 10 worldwide largest acceleration programs, and hundreds of startups went through this program using FIWARE technology to develop their solutions, bring their innovative solutions to the market. And actually we are transforming this acceleration program from a publicly funded more and more to a privately funded program, working together with other accelerators and focusing on matching our startups, our SMEs in the FIWARE ecosystem with accelerators, bringing them together and creating benefits here. And since the relaunch of these activities, we have more than 40 startups and SMEs and 10 accelerators in this program. And you can find more also here in this link of the acceleration program. And finally, there is another training camp to educate people, to bring them to the FIWARE technology. This is organized on Gran Canaria, the FIWARE Camp Gran Canaria, by our FIWARE iHub, or by the FIWARE iHub on the Canarian Islands. This will be from June 16 to 18. And there will be another training opportunity. This is for FIWARE and one of the projects we are actually running called I4Trust here on June 21st to June 25th. Every afternoon, you will get the opportunity to learn how FIWARE can be used to create smart solutions. So it's pretty straightforward, and I am recommending it for all of the technical people who would like to get closer to the FIWARE ecosystem and join the FIWARE ecosystem, and with this, help us to grow it. Yeah, this was a part of growing the FIWARE ecosystem, and the next part is the market readiness of the FIWARE technology. And here I'm proud to announce the FIWARE release number 8, 8.0. So .0 means it is really a major release, and it is a relevant number of components which are already supporting NGSI LD. So you remember the new ETSI standard LD. The context broker, of course, where we have different implementations, IoT agent, data connectors, and a lot of components enabling the integration with blockchain and distributed ledger technologies. We have the context broker implementation, data publication and marketplace services, and also an IDS connector. We will come later to the International Data Spaces Association and its role in the data economy. And with the release 8.0, we are providing an open source based IDS connector, which was contributed by Engineering Informatica in Italy to the FIWARE ecosystem. To learn more about it, there will be 2 dedicated technical sessions tomorrow at 9 and also the second one at 1:30 p.m. And what is very important for the market readiness is the question of performance. Here we created some time ago already a work group working on the performance, working on guidelines for the scalability of FIWARE-based installations, horizontal and vertical scalability. And we've proven that FIWARE, that the context broker as a core component of a FIWARE-based solution is capable to support and to fulfill the market requirements which are there, and even to surpass it. It is possible to have hundreds of millions transactions based on the FIWARE context broker per day. And we recently saw in the ecosystem requirements having 100 million transactions per day in a smart city context. And this is easily fulfilled by the FIWARE technology components. It requires the right setup, the right configuration of the hardware, but even with growing hardware, it nearly scales linear to reach the different performance requirements. So this is a very exciting result from my perspective from the technical team which is doing this. And I mentioned another point for the market readiness before. These are the standard data models. We started this initiative back in November 2018 during the Smart City Expo World Congress in Barcelona. At that time was 10 so-called front-runner smart cities, 8 from Europe, plus La Plata from Argentina and Montevideo from Uruguay. And at the beginning, the focus was purely on smart cities, but in the meantime, there are data models also in other domains, in agriculture, in energy, and in total, we have more than 600 data models, all published on GitHub, so publicly available. These are the standards which will pave the way to create interoperable data spaces in different domains. And it is provided in 4 different languages: English, French, Spanish, and German. I hope additional languages will follow. But it is very much end-user driven. So it is driven by the demand of the end users, and therefore it matches really the market requirements. I mentioned the project i4Trust and also the acceleration program before. And i4Trust is not only driving a lot of our technology developments, it is also providing a huge cascade funding opportunity. We will have 2 open calls and 3.2 million euro which will be given to startups, to small, medium-sized companies, to projects with an amount between 72,000 and 120,000 per project, equity-free. And it is not only money, it is also consulting, it is some support for a period of 9 months, which is provided to the participants and to the winners. And we have an open call webinar on June 22nd if you would like to learn more about it. And to close with the market readiness of the technology, we have 3 new papers, 2 position papers, one on FIWARE for data spaces. So what are the building blocks FIWARE is providing to create data spaces, and with this to enable the data economy. You see it here on this side. And next to it, digital twins. Because the concept of digital twins, which is more than 20 years old, and it was adopted for the first time roughly 10 years ago when Industry 4.0 was started, and driving the design principles in Industry 4.0, so the digitization of the manufacturing industry. And this concept is more and more taken over now also to other domains, for example, to smart cities, energy, or in agriculture. And the third thing, which is very important, is artificial intelligence. And this is the third paper we are publishing now today. It is on artificial intelligence, here with the focus of smart cities. But AI is another very important topic. As mentioned before, we are handling data, we are getting access to data, bringing them together or making them accessible. And then it makes more than sense to also use artificial intelligence. That was on the topic of market readiness. And let's now come to the third compass direction, which is the adoption in the market. So our domains strategy. We have so far 4 main domains which are supported by the FIWARE ecosystem: smart cities, smart industry, smart agri-food, and smart energy. And let's briefly go through this 4 verticals, which are driven by mission support committees. We can't do everything alone as a FIWARE Foundation. We are just like a spider in the web, and our ecosystem is driving the development of the FIWARE ecosystem. And let me start with the Smart Cities Mission Support Committee. It is a larger committee, and on this slide you can see the chair, the different chairs of this team. And I think Roberto will introduce us the team and guide us through the main highlights. Roberto, are you there? You are.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Ulrich. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure and an honor here for me to represent the Smart Cities Mission Support Committee. As you said, Smart Cities domain.
You are muted. Or?
Really? I'm not. Could you hear me?
Roberto, we can hear you very well.
Oh, perfect. Thanks. So, as you said, Ulrich, the Smart City domain is facing at the moment several challenges and relevant big secret crises. We are facing pandemic crisis, climate change, demographic change, resilience issues. So what is doing, what the Smart Cities Mission Support Committee is supporting on the vertical, specifically on smart cities, in particular to address this challenge through FIWARE technologies. The domain committees, it's co-chaired by several people already showing the picture before, with the several and different expertise on one side and background from public sector to the private, looking at large enterprise, but also small and medium enterprise. We have achieved several goals already. In particular, we already have defined our charter. We have collected several success stories from different parts of the world. We have already released the first version of FIWARE's for Cities booklet with several information and testimonies from several cities. In particular, here we have more than 36 cities with more than 41 solutions and 13 countries covered. We are supporting the growing of FIWARE uptake in Latin America, in Brazil, Colombia, and Peru in particular. It's growing the numbers of data models specifically addressing the smart cities domain, and we are more and more exploring and enlarging towards the smart mobility aspect. What's it now in the upcoming future? We are providing the position paper on smart FIWARE position paper on smart cities. We are going to extend the FIWARE position paper on data spaces, with a specific look, and on the smart city domain, increasing again the common information model, data model on smart cities, and boosting the collaboration with FIWARE with the cities, but also with the School for Digital Literacy. And we are going to create a portal where to collect open data, share, or all the data shared and collected and shared by cities. The number of cities supporting FIWARE is growing, and we are here to push and boost on this part. So that's the news from the Smart Cities Support Committee, Ulrich.
Yeah, thank you very much. And this is really a very successful mission support committee, and definitely Smart Cities is a flagship domain within the FIWARE ecosystem. As I said, adopted in nearly all continents. I think we are not on the Antarctic, but there are anyhow living no people, but on all other continents, FIWARE is used. Thank you. And one additional really lighthouse project from my perspective in the area of smart cities is, and I would like to mention it as it is the city of our headquarters in Berlin. You might have heard that Germany has been successful in opening the new Berlin airport after a few days of delay. And now Berlin doesn't need the Berlin-Tegel airport anymore. And this is it is the largest development project in the city, creating more than 1,000 new flats, creating an working environment on the whole area of the former airport. And the integration platform for all these activities to integrate different sectors from energy, from mobility, from smart living, this is FIWARE. And that's really a success in the city of our headquarters. Coming to our next domain, which is smart industry. And by the way, this is the main reason why the FIWARE location is located, the FIWARE Foundation is located in Germany, because Industry 4.0 was invented in Germany, the digitization of the manufacturing industry. And that was one of the reasons why Germany was selected to be the headquarters of the FIWARE Foundation. It could have been everywhere else in Europe, I think, but finally the decision was made for Germany. So the team consolidated the reference architecture for smart industry. We have some great scenarios in the area of smart factory, smart product, smart supply chain, but also tracking cross-sector dimensions. And this is very important as we are talking about interoperability of sector coupling, as the phrase is used in energy. And also something which is, and that's one of the upcoming highlights, the approach of the system of systems cooperation, being convinced that in larger and more complex ecosystems, one platform is not able to fulfill all requirements. So to support continuous business processes, it is necessary to connect different platforms. And that's what's behind the system of systems approach. And finally, also to further adopt the digital twin, the twin transition within industry. And this is what our team in smart industry is driving.
Yeah, Ulrich, I may try again.
Yeah, now we can hear you, but sorry, I think we need to go to the next part.
Yeah, sure.
But also to you and to the team, to Erno and you, thank you for guiding this mission support committee. Coming now to Harald and to Smart Agri-Food, as we call it.
Yes, Ulrich, thank you very much for the introduction. At first, I would also thank my other chairs, so Andrea Cruciani and Philippe Cousin, in collaborating in the Mission Support Committee. And I must say, looking at the last 12 months, it was also an exciting journey. I think, like for all of us, with all the struggles we experienced with the pandemic, while also especially in the agri-food sector, we had also, well, diverse challenges. We, even in different projects, made initiatives on, let's say, trying to mitigate risk of the pandemic. However, also in the Mission Support Committee, we wanted still to continue our work. And therefore, what was also very interesting, on the one hand, on food, but also when we're looking now on climate change, really, we are now discussing a lot about what are new approaches towards agroecology, which is quite a new, let's say, also, or it's new, an initiative which is getting more and more attention. And there we are looking also now from FIWARE side, what can be done. Also very practical work on software. There was done work on the vertical domain applications like the agro gateways, like for weather, and also what you see in the next 12 months on the contractors. At the same time, we were also now for quite some months working on the service monetization, which is also now an incubated enabler and available. Then also in projects, we had quite some tangible experience on application of FIWARE technologies. Therefore, we also added this example in the IoT catalog. There you will find quite some applications of FIWARE software in diverse settings in agri-food, which could be really an interesting, let's say, also for a reach out to those which are in behind those activities. Of course, please join also our monthly meetings, which we are organizing, and looking forward now to the next 12 months, like you were already announcing the work on data spaces. We are also looking with a view from the agri-food domain, also working more on the agri-contractors gateway. And for sure, as you somehow also highlighted, it's working on also interoperability. And there we also see the work on shared data models. It's very interesting that we are now collaborating with different standard development organizations. There's really active collaboration where we are really thinking, what can we, let's say, reuse from the past decades of work taking place in agri-food, not to reinvent the wheel. And last but not least, also collect and promote new domain success stories and collaborating in, let's say, especially in on the level of innovation projects. How can we really progress more and more on interoperability and, let's say, what was also introduced from different perspectives. So therefore, I think it will also be a very exciting year coming now. And fortunately, I also got just my vaccination. I think now things are possibly getting more and more smooth. Thank you very much. And
Yeah.
well, possibly I forgot. I think we have another slide which we want to announce. Could you please change the slides? Yes, sorry, I'm very bad in Spanish. However, also our colleagues from Spain highlighted that, and thank you very much for this. There's a new initiative in Spain going on, which is also now planning to fund and support the realization of a digital innovation hub, also say based on FIWARE technologies. We think that is a really interesting achievement, and we are looking very much towards that. And of course, there are reports on this, and please also ask our Spanish colleagues on that if you want to have more information. So thank you very much.
Yeah, Harald, thank you very much. And this is a very important example how to also work together with policymakers and how policymakers are adopting the standards the FIWARE ecosystem is providing. And with this, also the benefits. So thank you very much again. Coming now to our fourth vertical, which is smart energy. And I think here our speaker couldn't make it on the last notice, so I will take over. It is very much dominated with working together with the Linux Foundation in this case. We started that already, I think, more than 2 years ago with a project within Linux called LF Energy, so Linux Foundation Energy. Charlie Goodman is heading this, and it is also quite heavily supported from big European companies like RTF in France, the transition net operator in France. And we, together with LF Energy, we identified it makes sense to join forces to bring open source technology and open source based standards also into the domain of energy production, transition, and distribution. And finally, usage. And we will further improve and accelerate the cooperation with DSOs, so with distribution service operators in the different countries, and also use a series of projects to promote the FIWARE technology for the domain, so the development of local energy communities. And this is becoming more and more important with a change from the traditional energy production to more and more renewable energy production, which needs completely different management systems. And it is important to bring the providers of energy and the users of energy, more and more the consumers together. We are talking about prosumers, and this is only possible when using digital platforms and digital technologies. That were the 4 existing domains. And now, coming back to our strategy workshop we had with the board of directors, we agreed and we decided to create a 5th vertical within the FIWARE domain ecosystem. And given the relevance of water, it will become more and more a valuable, a scarce resource on a global scale. We defined that smart water will become the 5th vertical of FIWARE. And one of the initiators of this is a project which started already more than a year ago, called, and the name stands for itself. It is FIWARE for Water. But we also have been invited 1.5 years ago by the COP25 in Madrid to spend a whole afternoon in this large conference with the title FIWARE Fighting Climate Change. So we are addressing different sustainable development goals of the United Nations. And finally, and you can see that on the very right side of the slide over there, we have created a FIWARE for Water synergy group with different projects, all putting together their activities and looking for synergies in their different activities. And water will play an important role in the future of FIWARE. And if you're interested in creating a mission support committee for smart water, please join the deep dive on smart water today on 4:30. And if you are interested, then please address Fernando Lopez. He's our project leader for the FIWARE for Water project and is your contact person for all the water-related activities. Coming now to the fourth and last compass direction, which is the globalization strategy. And in this strategy, it is very important to work together with partners. And we will sign today 2 important memorandum of understanding with 2 partners we are working together already since years. And the first one is IDSA, the International Data Spaces Association. And I'm welcoming now Lars Nagel from the IDSA. He is my counterpart on IDSA side, so the CEO of the International Data Spaces Association. Hello, Lars. How are you doing?
Hello, Ulrich. I'm doing well. Thanks a lot. I hope you are also well. All your setup looks really great. And well, congratulations to this great FIWARE SmartFest. I'm happy and honored to be part of it.
Yeah, thank you. And we are working for the audience. Lars and me, we are working together since, I think, nearly 5 years now. Even more than 5 years, as I was also one of the founding members of the International Data Spaces Association and member of the board over there. And especially during, I'd say, the last half year, we identified that it makes more than sense to intensify our cooperation, especially when we talked about how to make data spaces based on Gaia-X. And IDSA is, from the very beginning, playing a big role in Gaia-X. To join forces between FIWARE and IDSA to provide building blocks which are helping to create data spaces based on Gaia-X. And I think this is, Lars, something which is where we are really sharing the same vision.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we have learned from the European data strategy that all citizens and companies want to regain control over their data. And this is a core value of Europe. So, making data sovereignty like a common good. This is a vision that we have. And in 10 years from now, data sovereignty is something that we breathe like air, hopefully. And data spaces are the base for this vision. And Gaia-X is like the big front runner project to give a thorough foundation to these data spaces. But there are several other building blocks which are needed, and we will learn a lot here from FIWARE, and we can reuse a lot. And IDSA, we are explaining how all these building blocks stick together so that we have a harmonized approach for data spaces, governance, which holds true for any data space in any domain. And we've heard about all the great achievements from FIWARE in the different domains, and therefore it's a perfect match. And we have, as Ulrich mentioned, a lot of groundwork done, 5 years in IDSA, several more in FIWARE. And I think jointly we can really speed up Gaia-X, and all other endeavors on data spaces in Europe and globally.
Yeah, and not too long ago, the two of us, together with Juanjo and BDVA, we agreed to even join forces on a broader scale and form where the working title, maybe this title even stays, is the Frontrunner Data Spaces Initiative. And this is in the creation phase, and all of you will be able to learn more about this Frontrunner Data Spaces Initiative during the FIWARE IDS, during the IDSA Summit. Sorry, Lars. During the IDSA Summit.
Let's make it a joint one.
When will it be?
22nd and 23rd of June.
Okay, so in 2 weeks' time. So I think all of this, it makes more than sense to sign our memorandum of understanding of a close cooperation. Shall we do it?
I'm prepared.
Okay, let me get a pen.
So, here it is.
Yeah, and here it is now. I don't know whether it is possible to see it. On your screen, it's even better. So let's shake hands. I don't know whether it works, but we are partners from now on. Thank you very much, Lars, for the cooperation over the last years, and really looking forward into the future. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Same. Thank you, and enjoy the SmartFest, all of you.
Thank you. Yeah, and there's another partner where the partnership is even longer, and this is with the Open and Agile Smart Cities community.
Yes, hello.
Two of the founders were Martin Brinsko and Juanjo, our CTO. Now the CEO is Davor Mersman, and Davor, also welcome to you.
Hi, Ulrich. Hello. Yes, indeed, we took our time in formalizing the partnership, but I think after kind of years working working on the same problems from different sides, I thought it was important to I think finally make it official and kind of formalize the relationship. So I'm very much looking forward, I think, to the collaboration, or the continuation, but then also under I think a bit more cover, let's say, of the work we have been doing together. So I've really enjoyed the last months. It sounds a bit of a similar timeline as the International Data Spaces MOU. So we've had these, I think, a really good path getting here and kind of working through all the details. So yeah, we're looking forward to it, I think, and also make it a bit more firm and beef up the comms and collaboration on the, I think, the smart data models. So in a sense, for those who don't know OASC, although I don't think that's that many people in this community. So we're a network of 160 cities globally, organized in 31 chapters, working on MIMs, which are minimal interoperability mechanisms, and at the core of those are specifications that are co-designed, but then of course also satisfied by FIWARE. So what we work on is the interoperability from the demand side, so that cities can exchange solution services and data. But of course, for the providers looking at it from that angle, we're an addressable market. So in that sense, I think it's one of the things we need most is solutions that just work, and then solutions that work in more than one place. I think if we want to face kind of the challenges we have as societies globally, the global problems come together at the local levels, and they're all solving them at the same time or doing the best effort. They need good solutions. They need fruitful collaborations that don't lock in, and preferably built at least on open standards, and preferably, I think, also open source, so you can apply local talent to your local problems and so forth. And FIWARE, I think, is a very a known, trusted, and a shining example of how to take on, I think, the global scope, multi-domain with open source and with a very practical implementation-driven mindset. So I really like to see also, Ulrich, and to commend you also for where you've brought the organization over the years. So very much looking forward to that.
And I have to say that the standards OS created with the establishment of the MIMS, of the minimal interoperability mechanisms, are paving the way for the interoperability not only within different cities and to create synergies between the different cities, but it will also be an enabler for the interoperability of different data spaces. And I'm pretty sure that this concept of minimum interoperability mechanisms, the MIMS, will be used in the future more and more also when we are talking about data spaces in other domains. And I'm very happy to see that also this is taken over by policymakers. For example, Slovenia is the first country in Europe, at least as far as I know, which took over MIM1 standard APIs and MIM2 standard data models as a prerequisite for the Slovenian cities when going into the digitization and creating smart cities. These are guidelines defined by the policymakers which are enabling really the synergies and the good collaboration.
Yeah, indeed, and I think we're in contact also with the ministry there, looking at the presidency, and actually also with Andrea from the Chamber of Commerce. So we know each other there. So we're aware, I think, of what is happening there, and it's definitely the right move because, of course, especially looking at the let's say countries who aren't like front and center in the economic action fields geographically or otherwise. And that same goes for cities actually who are looking to valorize investments. You want to look at standards so that the export opportunities are created from the get-go. There is, apart from Slovenia, I think maybe also interesting to point out is that well, other national levels we have the Netherlands, we have who have a guide. There's Denmark. There is also Flanders who have building their entire city reference architecture called VLOCA. The open city architecture, also incorporating the MIMS, and I think also in quite an intense conversation also with FIWARE due to various projects and so forth. Japan, I think, is also banking on the MIMS, so to speak. But in Europe, one of the things to watch are is the initiative called Join, Boost, Sustain, or sorry, the Living in EU initiative, which is proposing this technical ground framework called the MIMS Plus, which is the MIMS Plus, then a number of other useful, let's say, components that kind of, they flank each other, they support each other, to then be this interoperable component that can be used in the context of procurement, of scaling up solutions, and so forth. And it's been a vision so far by Eddie Hartog and Cristina Martinez and Andrea Halmos from the Commission, but they've also gathered, I think, a number of the other kind of front runners in there. I think we have, for example, Dana Leftriadou with the Intelligent Cities Challenge and so forth. So all like really good people from the Commission sitting together, and then with the networks, which is OASC, European Network of Living Labs, and Eurocities, and we have our colleagues from the VNG as well. And we've been working together on kind of shaping up this initiative. Slovenia actually was one of the first to also sign in big numbers, and that's now part of the Digital Europe. Right? You could see that, I think, just a few weeks ago. So we've been hard at work to de-risk the market a little bit. I think some of the issues related to the industrial domain of smart cities are related to an inadequate risk profile. I think both for the companies who often you can see them pivot away. They'll develop a tech in a city and then choose a domain that has less friction or just doesn't have procurement sitting in the middle in terms of doing business. And then for the investment side as well, of course. So that's kind of what we do. We just a final sentence. So we signed the MOU today, and then there will be a press release that we'll work on towards next week, the 16th. So there we have our general assembly where we group all the cities, and we'll then at that date also provide some additional info. No.
Let us maybe know where you're going this year. I know we met a couple of times at different fairs where you really bring up your ever-growing story with a lot of references, a growing amount of members. Let us know where we can meet you guys this year. Maybe even physically. We all hope to shake hands and see you again.
Yeah. So I think the physical component, it was a bit in the air over the past period, but let's all assume that after summer we'll start to kind of see each other physically again. But so we'll probably be at the Nordic Edge where we kind of need to pick up the where we left off. I think 12 months ago. And then the Smart City Expo World Congress in Barcelona will be, and then of course there's also the City by City Festival that we will be at. One of the things we did, I think there are a number of places where we can interact. Actually, one of the things that we did during COVID, apart from of course the obvious downsides, I think for a lot of organizations it had the benefit of kind of beefing up the online presence and service availability there. So we are organizing all kinds of online open stuff. So although the network itself, all decisions are taken by the cities, the members. We don't have companies taking decisions. It actually is a good model for companies to work with because you don't work with supply in the sky. So it is just cities you're talking to, and in that sense we're open to collaborate. We have working groups where you can contribute to all kinds of work.
Our network was a good topic. I bet. Yeah, so
perfect.
And I think now we are ready to sign our memorandum to go into a long-lasting, close cooperation to finally support cities and communities in their digital transformation. That's it. Yeah. And finally, also here we go with
mine's digital, so I'll share. I'll email it later.
Good. Davor, thank you very much, and I'm really looking forward to our cooperation.
Thank you, Ulrich, and talk soon.
Thank you. So now we have to speed up a bit. This is an example where global policymakers are taking over the results, standards from FIWARE. It is an example from India, where the India Urban Data Exchange platform has been announced back in February of this year by the Minister for Housing and Urban Affairs and the Technology Minister. NGSI has taken their IOBX joined the Smart Data Models Initiative, which we saw before, and is providing now the standard Smart City platform for India. It's a major breakthrough in our global standardization and global adoption strategy. And finally, we talked a lot about Gaia-X. FIWARE became day one member of Gaia-X. FIWARE provides building blocks to create data spaces based on Gaia-X. And as I mentioned at the very beginning, Dario Avalone was elected yesterday to be a member of the board of directors of Gaia-X. And we will provide several hackathons also to support our globalization, but now I have to speed up a bit. This was our strategy. The 4 compass directions: growth, market, domains, and globalization. And you can find all of that on just one page. The FIWARE strategy in a nutshell, and all the topics which are marked in bold here were covered during this session this morning. And to bring all this to the market, I would now like to hand over to Christina Brandstetter, our Chief Marketing Officer. So, Christina, over to you.
Thank you, Ulrich. And hello, good morning, good afternoon, and evening to everybody. And I'm sorry that I cannot join you from Berlin offices, still due to travel restrictions, but even more, very thrilled to give you a bit more insight on what we co-create and where we collaborate. And there's really a lot to show based on what we heard already, because it's the community that stands in the center of everything. But there's more. There's more, and it's the marketing team that brings together with the whole community and our members and our partners, lots of strategic partners, new ideas and content into the market. And I want to show you in the next few minutes a few of the highlights. We cannot show everything. You will find much more on our website, but the highlights we want to bring, and these are the topics that you can deep dive also throughout the next days, 3 full days of program. So surely one of the super highlights has been the launch of our Smart Cities booklet. It just came out a few days ago, and we're very thrilled because although we could even show already more than 100 cities here, or more than even 200 cities, we wanted to give you more content and worked on the very first 36 cities worldwide that give an insight how they work with FIWARE, and you can really learn from them, but also be making part of the next edition. So just go on the website or download a link that we will share in the chat to have a deep look into it. And we will also present a bit more during the session that's just coming after this one here about smart cities and mobility. We'll see on the next page, by the way, if somebody could please do that for me, thank you, that you can just connect with us because the next edition is already in the pipeline for end of July. So you want to be in because you're a city or you have a great solution, you can always contact one of my team members who is Max Kleinsorg, and you have his address also here. One of the other great examples about mobility is a white paper that we just brought out, and it's about smart cities as a service. We did it also with a big collaboration in terms of projects, funded project, together with lots of partners, and then again working with voices from the industry who basically contribute to why our movements are so important. And also here, very nice example that you can get on our website, and you see the partners here that collaborated really nicely together. One of our other great, we'll see that in a moment here. I hope it's the slides coming up. Yep, thank you. Collaborations is also with analysts. Analysts play an important role for FIWARE. Why? Because they're a third-party voice and you cannot really influence them. So that's the good and the bad part. And for us, the good part is that we run really nice collaborations with analysts. They look at us as a foundation, as a technology, and also as an ecosystem from a more neutral perspective. And obviously, they evaluate us against peers. And we're always very happy when we get comments from them. And then we engage also great partners like Gartner. And here's just a good example how we engage with Gartner when it comes to speaker engagements, also keynotes at FIWARE days or summits, but also in the latest publications like our global reference booklet for smart cities. If we go ahead, you also see that media partners play a role. Why are they so great? Because we don't run just whatever kind of engagements. We want our media partners to be real partners. And what we do is we collaborate on collaborative products. And with these products and also through events, they actually are quite happy to bring FIWARE out into their media as well. And here's just a few examples how they even pushed and promoted the FIWARE Smart Fest. You and it's always nice for us as FIWARE, as a company or as a foundation, as well as for as a marketing team, because you can see they pick it really up. And there's a lot of people from our media partners that you can see even over throughout the next days, like Emmanuel Pampan, Stephanie Wok-Kyung, and there's a few others. So just bear with the program and look where you can find them. And they're also, by the way, happy to engage with you. So if you want to approach them, happy to do so, or do that via FIWARE. Going ahead, the another great thing, and we proved also together with my colleague Val, that collaborative products with the media partners are really a big success. Some of you may remember that we ran a campaign last year with Forbes. This year we do that with Bloomberg. They're not the only ones. There's Business Reporters and many others. Okay, but this is just a very nice example of something that's coming out tomorrow. So we kept it for you to bring it up really only tomorrow when there is the session about artificial intelligence, and you will see a white paper coming up as we collaborate with many, many of our partners on this. So very nice example of what we can do if we really tight hands together. You will have the session in the program, but you can see it also here, day 2 from 11:15, and you can get your copy. We're also happy to have edition number 5, booklet on climate change. And we started that on a journey almost 2 years ago, or 1.5 years ago, when going and joining COP25. And as FIWARE, we figured out that we had so many solutions already paying into sustainability, green, climate change, or anything that has to do with climate support. And we brought out a very first edition straight away. And we are meanwhile at edition 5, very proud together with our community that we can really contribute to the European Green Deal with that, to the just upcoming new green agenda of North America and the United States and many other continents that go the same way. Then I'll go into the next page. You will see also that it's not only bringing out products, it's really bringing people together. And during COVID, it was surely a challenge to bring people really closer together. So we brought up a new format, and it proved successful. So we will do that again, bringing our platinum members together with our member community. This is for members only. It's organized by FIWARE, and it's really a one-to-one match where you can join and get a direct access to top players. Like in this case, we did that with Red Hat. So a new partner is coming up with such a format in the next weeks. So happy if you're a member that you can join us and engage directly, and we'll help you in this. And still, we don't stand still because we want to go live as well. You can see here an overview of the next events where we are very confident to be in person and physically present. My team's already working very strongly on building up the all the construction work for these fairs. And Ulrich, I'm sure you will be traveling there too, right? Ulrich, we can't hear you. You are on mute. Thank you. Now we can, or should hear you. You're back on mute. You are green for just half a second. Okay, let's see if Ulrich can get his mic back.
It should be back. So, Christina, you can hear me? Yeah?
Yes.
Good, thank you. Thank you for the thumbs up. And thank you, Christina, to you personally, but also to the whole marketing team. Which is really doing a great job distributing, communicating the big results of the technical teams we are doing on the market adoption we are facing around the world, and really helping us to achieve our targets, to achieve our vision, and to organize events like this one. But definitely marketing is not only limited to organizing events. It's doing a lot of transferring our advice, our messages to the community around the world. And the world is a good topic. We have the FIWARE Smart World on tour. It is our smart world built out of Lego bricks, where we have planned to be in several events. You see them listed here, and hopefully it will be possible in the second half of this year to come back to physical events. Yeah, let's now engage on our new AirMeet platform. Use functionality during the breaks, or maybe if there is a presentation which is not in the focus of your interest, use the opportunity to do matchmaking with other participants, to meet new people, and simply to experience the functionalities of AirMeet. We are about to have a big program for the next 3 days. As I said, also with time zones and program parts which are more familiar than and fitting more to the demands in the Americas. And with this, I would like to thank you. And for those of you who are not yet members of the FIWARE Foundation, here's how you can join. Join as an individual, join as a university, join as a startup, but also as a large corporate organization. And follow us on our channels. And with this, thank you very much. Have an exciting and engaging FIWARE Smart Fest, and really looking forward to see you again in one of the global FIWARE summits, wherever it will be in Europe or outside of Europe in great scale. Thank you very much for your attention, and have great 3 days with FIWARE.
Thank you, Ulrich. We invite now everybody to move over to the next session. Actually, you can just stay there, because we will be launching in a few minutes our session about smart cities and mobility. So bear with us. That's going to be a very interesting and exciting session as well. Thank you and good.